Good morning. I'm Jocelyn Peck, and I've been a member of this church for about 10 years. So, through being a member of this church and this youth group for quite some time, I've gotten to see a lot of my friends standing up right here where I am, giving their senior speeches to the congregation. But now it's my turn, and it's a little hard to believe that high school's over and that graduation day is coming sooner. So with the busy life of a teenager, I've continued to put off, putting this story together and what I was going to say. And I just kept telling myself either that it was I didn't know what I was going to write about or that I just didn't have time. So it wasn't until about this morning around 8 a.m. that I was like, all right, I got to get this thing going. So I put the thoughts of my no energy and my no sleep. And I sat down at the computer and I started to type away. And sometimes that's kind of how I think my faith is, that I just get caught up in the hustle and bustle of life and that I don't always just sit down and set time aside for God. And so sometimes you just gotta listen to that little voice inside your head saying, take a breath and just stop. So in August of 2008, I fully dedicated myself to Christ, but through school, sports, families, and friends, there's a lot going on. And sometimes it's hard to make sure you have that time for God. So that's why I think it's really important to have a night or certain nights when you can just have time to worship and be with Him. And so for me, that's every Wednesday and Sunday night. On Wednesday nights, I attend the West Hill Baptist Church along with about 100 other plus high school students. And we worship and we listen to testimonies and we praise God for all that He's done and just have a fun time. And then on Sunday nights, I'm here every morning, early service, and every night for youth group. And it's just, I like knowing that for at least 2 nights out of my week, I'm gonna not worry about all the little things and just be able to praise God with some friends and have no worries. Being a part of this church and youth group, I've been able to experience some amazing and wonderful things, whether it be mission trips to Arizona, Michigan, Atlanta, or going to Kentucky for a 4-day concert, having the time of your life, or just taking the little side trips to Cedar Point, Kalahari, or baseball games with some of your best friends. And if it wasn't for some of those trips, I would not have some of the friendships that I have today or some of the memories. But just like everyone else in life, I've had many ups and downs, dealing with the little itty-bitty things that no one really needs to worry about in the end, dealing to the major problems. So about a month before my sophomore year in high school, I had some major health problems that took me to doctors everywhere and having tests after tests. And it put me through a lot of pain. But eventually, after about a month, I was diagnosed with optic neuritis, which is the swelling of the nerve inside of your eye, which causes you to lose your vision. And I wasn't sick before, I wasn't in pain before, it kind of came on as a surprise and didn't really know why, but I was in a lot of pain and I missed months of school and definitely a lot of health problems after that, even still to this day. But if it wasn't for people in this church, my family members, friends, and most importantly faith, then I definitely would not be where I am today dealing with that. So to help me through definitely all that, I went to the Bible verse, 2 Corinthians 5:7, for it says, we walk by faith and not by sight. And I definitely take that into consideration because I am at a loss of sight. So growing up in this church, I've had a lot of support from everyone. And I've never felt like all the love and care that I know that you guys give. And being only 17, and I'm graduating, it's really weird, really young. All my fellow graduates are 18, 19, but I've always felt like sometimes I'm just left out of things, not always respected, not always taken seriously. But here I know that that's not true and that I can be respected. So a verse that helped me got through that was 1 Timothy 4:12. Don't let anyone look down on you because you are young, but set an example for the believers in speech, in life and in love, and in faith and in purity. And I'm not quite so sure where my life would be right now if it wasn't for all of you in the church to help me and guide me through my life. And obviously, you've done a pretty good job. So, thank you.
Good morning. For those of you who don't know me or have seen me a million times but don't know my name is Laura McCready. First, I'll explain who I am. I've been a part of this church my whole life. As an infant, I was baptized here. I don't really remember that, but it happened. For 3.5 wonderful years, I was an only child. I don't remember those years. And then my younger sister, who I do love, came along. She was also baptized here, and I actually kind of remember that one. Now, if we fast forward to the stuff that I can actually remember, my story gets a little more interesting. I remember many years of Sunday school being very proud of my long line of attendance stickers. My family and church family nurtured me through my faith through those early years, surely planting the seed that every Christian needs to thrive. As I entered the youth program, I found a sort of home within the church. I went on my first mission trip in 2006 to Bethesda, Ohio. For me, the Bethesda trip was all about finding out what youth group was. We built a deck during that trip and even went whitewater rafting on our day off. My second mission trip was to Nashville, Tennessee. This trip was the one that probably drove Murphy Shepard crazy. I think I asked him about 3 million questions about high school and marching band over the course of the trip. I was nervous about starting high school, and once again, my youth group family helped me feel at ease. A few memories from that trip include taming the Tennessee jungle, Scott and Andy playing guitar from the top of the vending machines, the infamous flip-flop fight, and my third mission trip was to Fort Defiance, Arizona, where we worked on a Navajo reservation. This mission trip was a difficult one for many of us. This trip was made difficult because one of our classmates passed away after a car accident just a couple weeks before we left. I wasn't very close to her, but we were all hit by the tragedy. The Arizona trip wasn't all bad. I had fun painting a house with Heidi and singing the few lines that we could think of to all of our favorite songs. I got to see the Grand Canyon while it was raining. In a way, I think that's the best way to see it, because at one point, while looking out, the clouds broke just enough for a few beams of light to reach down into the canyon. Only God is mighty enough to create something that beautiful. The next year, there were 2 mission trips, and I went on both. These trips were to Atlanta, Georgia, and Marysville, Ohio. These trips were important to me because this was when I started becoming one of the older kids in the youth group. I was no longer the one being brought into the group, but now was the person welcoming others in. My last mission trip was to Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan this past summer. The trip was a sentimental one because I knew it would be my last, at least with this youth group. I had a blast working there on a variety of jobs. Believe it or not, I even had fun scrubbing paint out of a carpet. I even learned a little masonry also. Though mission trips are some of my biggest memories from youth, they are not the only thing I enjoyed. Though we have had many youth leaders, we have always had Mark and Michelle Shepard to help us through the transitions. And I know I'm not the only one that feels this way when I say thank you. Without people like you, we wouldn't have made it through as strong as we are. This year, we started something new in youth group. We started small groups. I have enjoyed these weekly meetings immensely. We meet in a home or restaurant and have a Bible study. The people able to attend from week to week are always varied a little bit, but I always had fun. Even the day, it was just me and Kim, and we were folding laundry and talking about who knows what, was a fun and memorable time. Small groups have helped to strengthen my faith and friendships with other believers. Outside of the youth group, I have been active in a group called Chrysalis. Chrysalis is a 3-day retreat for teens over the age of 15 years old. For me, this retreat was unlike any other retreat I had been on. My first weekend, or flight as it's called, was my freshman year, and it was life-changing. Not like bolt of lightning from heaven kind of thing, but an eye-opening experience. Since my original flight, I have been on team twice and will be on the flight this coming January. So if you know any 15-year-olds who you think would enjoy an amazing God-filled week without their phones, feel free to let me know. So far, my life has been a good one. I've been raised in a loving Christian home with a younger sister that I tend to get along with. I have been surrounded by the love of a large church family. I have a caring Christian boyfriend, Murphy Shepard, who's sitting right back there, who I met here at the church and have been with for 2 years and 8 months. Soon, I will be leaving this place of familiar faces to join the real world. May 31st, this next Tuesday, I will leave to be a camp counselor at Camp Asbury in Hiram. This camp is a part of the East Ohio Conference, and I'm very excited to share the love of Christ with children. When summer comes to an end, I will be going to the University of Findlay to study occupational therapy. I plan to continue to grow in my faith throughout school. My mom and I have already found the closest Methodist church to campus, and I was pleased to hear that the Findlay area Chrysalis and Emmaus community meets in that church. I will be leaving this part of my journey, but will not be leaving my faith. Thank you to all that have helped me and encouraged me. I will never forget you or this place. Thank you.